Hello guys, welcome back to another tutorial. Hit the bell icon button so that you don't miss out any tutorial.
Moving on to this next module, we'll take a look at how to create worksheets and workbook and the difference between the two. Although I did cover this in previous lessons, but quickly, whenever you open Microsoft Excel, you essentially are opening a workbook. And within this workbook, we have different or various worksheets. So for example, in this particular workbook, there's only one sheet called Sheet 1 by default. If I need to add another page or worksheet within this workbook, all I have to do is just click on the plus sign and it will create the next sheet or the page. So now I have two, Sheet 1 and 2. Okay. So as you build your Excel environment or you're working with a certain project that entails working with different sheets such as monthly sales, so you can have the first month or month of January in Sheet 1 and then in February in Sheet 2 and so forth. Okay, so just a quick recap on the difference between workbook and worksheet. Okay, next let's dive deeper into the Excel environment and let's create our first worksheet. Okay, so here's the scenario. We are going to create different worksheets within this particular workbook, and we're going to call this workbook sales data or the first quarterly sales data, something like that. Okay, as we begin to build. So on our first sheet here, let me click on the Sheet 1 here, and here we are going to enter some data on this particular sheet, which is our first month. Okay, so let me click on the cell. First I need to make sure my active cell is where I like to enter the data or the information, and I'm going to start typing. As soon as I have selected this cell called B2, again B is the column and 2 is the row, and it also shows me in my name box the location. So in B2 I'm going to say January, so all I did was just simply type, and I'm going to say sales. And I'm going to click away and I'm going to click on cell B4, and this is where I would enter say my data. So my January sales was, let's say, 77. Okay, and notice how the word sales is going into the next column, or it looks like it's actually been written in column C. In fact, it's not. It's still in this particular cell called B2, and the way I check this information is by simply going and clicking on this cell and then going to my formula bar and taking a look at the contents of this cell. Okay, so the formula bar does not necessarily display just the formulas in Excel, but everything that's inside this cell is displayed. Okay, so if this cell contained a formula, it would show a formula, but since cell B2 has text, it displays text. Okay, so simply the contents of the cells are displayed in the formula bar. Okay, so cell B2 is January sales. Now what if I need to increase the width of this particular column? Okay, it's very easy. All I have to do is take my mouse pointer and right on this line dividing the two columns, I'll notice a two-headed arrow pointing to the left and to the right. Okay, so as soon as I see this arrow, all I have to do is just hold the left mouse button down and then drag to the right, and notice Excel shows me the width size as being increases both in terms of pixels and centimeters. Okay, so 12.57 or 93 pixels depending upon how large I want this column to be. Okay, so let's say width is 14, which is fine, and notice it automatically increases the size of this particular column B, and now it's easier to see that January sales fits right into the column. Okay, the shortcut way, or what if you would like to see the word January sales to fit just right in this particular column, the shortcut is as follows. Go back to your line between the two columns B and C and simply click twice. So if I click my mouse button twice, notice Excel automatically adjusts the width. Okay. So a quick pointer, I wanted to show you a quick shortcut. Okay. So here's my January sales, which is 77 on sheet 1. Now what if I have 6 months or the entire year? How would I know that sheet 5, for example, is the month of June? It's easier. I can rename these sheets. Okay. So for example, where it says sheet 1, there are a couple of ways to do it, and I'm going to show you both ways. First, I can simply double click or click twice, and Excel automatically highlights the entire text and the cursor is blinking, which means I can use my keyboard to delete and enter my own text. So I'm going to type January. It's just that simple. In sheet 2, likewise, first let me go to sheet 2 and then double click on sheet 2, delete the text and type February. Okay. So here's my January data, which again is, I have a heading called January sales, 77, and then my February sales, and a couple of cells down, I'm going to say 89. Okay. Great. So if I navigate back and forth, I click on January, I'll see my Jan sales, and in February I'll see my Feb sales. And repeating the same steps again, I can take my mouse pointer between columns B and C on the headers here and double click, and Excel would automatically adjust the column size. Now notice any difference. There's one slight difference that I want to point out. Take a look at this 89 within this particular cell. It seems like the number 89 is on the right side of this cell, or justified right. And I can see this by going up to my ribbon in the alignment group. Notice this bottom line is highlighted. So that's how the contents of this cell are adjusted. So let me go back to my January sheet here. In this instance, it's the same. Okay, so 77 is also bottom line. And I can work with other tools like align left, center, or align right, and it will adjust the text accordingly. So for instance, if I wish this 77 to be on the left side or being aligned left, so make sure my active cell is selected, which is right here, and then go back up to my alignment group and find the align left tool on the ribbon and click once, and it will take the 77 and align it to the left. I can do the same for the February sales data. So click on February, make sure my cell is selected, and then click on align left, and it will do the same for both. So likewise, you can create various sheets, rename them, and then enter data accordingly. Now I mentioned earlier there are a couple of ways to rename these sheets. Okay, one way again I showed you was to simply click twice, and it would take you into the edit mode, delete the data, and type your own text. Let me insert a new sheet and demonstrate that, the second method. So click on new sheet and enters sheet 3. Okay, so let me demonstrate. Instead of double clicking on this sheet 3 and typing March for the month of March, another way to do this is simply right click your mouse button on sheet 3. As soon as I do this, a small menu comes up with various options, and one of the options is called rename. Okay, so all I have to do is just right click on sheet 3, which I did, and select rename, and it takes me to the same area. Simply delete the text and type March. Okay, so I have January, I have March, and I have February. The data is in January, the data is in February, and if I click on March, obviously there's nothing there. So let me type here March, and then the March sales are 45. Okay. Click away. Here it is. Do the same thing with the alignment. Make sure my active cell is highlighted. Go up to my ribbon, find the tool called Align Left, and click once, and I will align the data to the left side of this column. So once again, I have Jan, March, and Feb. I forgot the sales, so let me go back to March and enter sales as well. Now this is something called editing. So for example, I already have the text March in this cell. I'd like to add the word sales. I can simply go up to my formula bar, put a space, and type sales, hit enter, and it would edit the text. The other way is simply to make sure my cell is selected or is an active cell, and simply click twice on this cell will take me to the edit mode directly into that cell. So a couple of ways you can do it: through the formula bar or click twice on that cell. Okay. Next, I can always resize by taking my mouse pointer between the two columns and click twice to adjust the column to fit the contents. All right, great, looking good. So we have January, we have March, we have February. Now there's one problem here. The problem is that I have January and the next month should be February. Okay. How do I move sheets around? Okay. It's actually very simple. All you have to do is hold your mouse pointer down, and as soon as you do this on the sheet tab, notice Excel displays a little icon, which means that you're about to move this particular page or worksheet in either direction. So I want to move to the right next to February, and you'll notice there's a little drop down arrow that shows that this is where, if I let go of the left mouse button now, this is where it's going to place the sheet as the destination point. So I'll let go of the mouse and Excel would move the sheet to the right side of the month February. So now I have January, February, and March. Okay. So navigating between worksheets, adding worksheets, renaming worksheets, entering data in Excel is what we actually saw. Okay. And all of these sheets are part of this workbook called Book 1. The reason why it's called Book 1, because by default we opened a new workbook. We did not save this workbook yet, therefore name is displayed as Book 1. So I hope this helps. In this lesson we took a look at the difference again between the workbook and worksheets, how to create worksheets within a particular workbook, how to rename your sheets, how to navigate between sheets, how to move sheets around, and how to enter some basic text and data.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you like the video, do give us a thumbs up and share it. Also check out amazing discounts and offers on our premium courses in the description below.